Hello, welcome back to Create with These Old Hands. Today I'm going to be doing a short instruction on shading and value in drawing and sketching. Basically, it's a matter of how deep the shadows are and how three-dimensional you can make something look by simply putting some different degrees of depth of shadows in your drawing. So we'll turn the camera down to my hands and I'll see you in a bit. These are the tools that I use. You don't need a whole lot. You need a couple of different kinds of erasers. You definitely need blending stumps and a variety of firm and soft pencils. Whether you draw in pen or not is totally up to you. I like to have a transparent ruler with both inches and centimeters on it. And I cheat whenever possible, so I have this little ruler that has a proper inner and outer square to just when I'm drawing to make things square. So this is a regular gum eraser, and this is a kneaded eraser, which is a little bit sticky and a little bit soft, but this will not smudge. It actually lifts the carbon off, whereas this, to some degree at least, will smudge when you try to erase something. So I think what we'll do to begin here is just make an example of the different pencils. So the one that everybody gets in school is an HB. So looks like that, and when you lay it on its side and try to blend with it, this is what you'll get. The next one I have is a B, which is slightly softer. I'm putting the same amount of pressure as I did before. Next one is a 4B. There is a 2B. I bought two 4Bs. So it's a little easier to make it darker. 6B. And an 8B. Now, when you go to blend these colors, that's when a lot of change happens. So these are used, and you can see that they're slightly already got some color. I'll use this one because it has less on it. It does pick up the carbon eventually. So this one here, if I blend the HB, it smooths out the lines that you get when you first color or first shade, but it also, you can manipulate it into more detailed corners and things like that. So we'll just do each of these so you can see how much darker, how much the difference is. So this is over top of where I actually put down carbon, but it spreads. This makes it spread out as well. So you can pick up this and spread it out into another area. So be careful when you are shading that you don't make real heavy lines here, because then it's very hard to get rid of those lines. If you do sideways, then it's a little bit easier to blend it out. Now, just to show you the difference in the erasers, if I were to try to erase these, you can see that it, above and below, it carries a little bit. So there is some smudging, there is some carrying over, whereas this one actually lifts. It gets on here, but it actually lifts it out, and you just pick it up. And it lightens each time. Okay, so that's the two erasers. Because I tend to do a lot of geometric shapes, I will also use a ruler when I'm drawing or when I'm shading as well. So this is my 8. So if I were to want to shade up to a direct line, I would put my ruler there and I would shade up until it touches. And then you get a very crisp edge to your shading. And for buildings and things like that, it's a lot easier to just stop at the edge of the building than it is to try to erase whatever you don't want. So, okay, so if I have a line, this is my 6B, and I try to shade up to it, it either isn't as even or I go over. So I just find it easier to use this tool. When we're talking about what you want to actually draw, I can't draw out of my head, unless it's like flowers and trees and islands and things. But if it's buildings, I need a reference picture. And so I take a lot of digital pictures, but when I print them, I never, ever, ever print them in color, because the color confuses your eye when it's time to shade. So you could be distracted by the fact that something has a pale terracotta and a deep terracotta, and it looks like shading, but it's just 2 different colors. If you take a black and white print of that, then you'll see the difference in what's actually shadows. So this is a line drawing digitally done from a photo I took, which is very busy and whatnot. I started to trace that to draw from, and I thought, you know what, there are so many line drawings out there in clip art that it's probably better to just use the clip art. So this is the clip art that there's 3. So this was the clip art, and I used my computer to turn it into a line drawing because we want to shade it, and this is already shaded. So we'll pretend this is my photograph and this is my, okay. When I'm doing something like shading, I like to have a variety of angles. So I'm choosing this over this. This has 2 angles and this has several angles. So I would choose this over this. But when you are taking pictures, make sure that you do step to the side and don't take it straight on from the front. So this is the one that we're going to use. So a value sketch, which is what we're talking about today, is actually something that so it's just it's just like 2 by 3.5, 2 by 3. And it's something that you want to refer to when you're shading your actual drawing or painting, whatever. So I always put a sun on my value sketch. So if I put the sun over here, then this will be in sun, this will be in shade, this will be in sun, this will be in shade. If I put it over here, it will be the reverse. Because I take my photographs instinctively with the sun over my right shoulder, all my photographs are sun over my right shoulder. And you can use your computer to mirror image that if you want to change it. But so I automatically draw my little reminder that this is my sun and it's over my right shoulder. It's coming from the right in my photograph. It will make a difference to the shading whether it's high noon or 3 in the afternoon. And to take photographs to draw from, if you're doing them from photographs, it's better to have it at like before 10 in the morning or after 3 in the afternoon. You get much better shadows after 3 in the afternoon than you do at high noon. Everything at high noon is just like straight down, and you're better off having it from an angle. So to use this as an example, I would take my choice of my different dark, how light or how dark I want everything to be. And I would start out with just a reminder with the light one, with a reminder of what's in shadow. So if the sun was coming from behind, this would be in shadow. So we're going to make the sun come from in front so that we can have definite change between light and dark. So if this is the sun, this is obviously going to be in shade. This is going to be in, to some degree, in sun, although it will, depending on where this casts a shadow. And this will be in shade, and this will be in shade. So that's logical. We all know that already. These little ones in the back, I can't see well enough to really judge. So this one would be light here and slightly shaded here. So the trick comes now, how much detail do you want to put in with your shading? So even on the sunny side, which the sun's coming from here, this window would cast a slight shadow to the left. This would cast a shadow under the roof. This would be pretty much equal because it's out of, so the window would not cast a shadow. This up here is going to be darker on this side than on this side, as is this, as is this. So those ones are, so these ones you can do, that's just a B. So if I do, say, a 4B down here, the sun seems to shine brighter. So the darker you make your shadows, the brighter your sun looks like it's shining. And in some of the countries, you know, where it's hot, 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 the shadows are absolutely black. Like you would maybe not even see that if it's that. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, so I still can see that. But you can see how it's changing dimensionally now, because the sun is on here and this is in shadow, the sun's on here and this is in shadow. So that's a 4B. So if I step it up to a 6, I would say that if the sun is coming from here, this is going to cast a shadow. This building is going to cast a shadow on this. So I'm going to put that in shadow, a cast shadow. Now, we don't want that to be the same as that, because that's a cast shadow. So then I would darken this down a little more. So you want to use about 4 or 5 different degrees of shading. Okay, so that's a cast shadow. This is darker. Now, with the sun from here, that side of the roof and this side of the roof would be bright. This would be darker. Okay, and the more you adjust the shadows, the more three-dimensional it looks and the more bright the sunshine looks, right? So darken that down a little bit more, darken that down a little bit more. And then the roof itself, well, but first of all, the steps. So this is very hard to see, but I would, you know, try to darken sort of the vertical and leave the horizontal shiny. So one thing that we haven't talked about though is that this overhang is going to cast a shadow. This is where I'm going to use the ruler, because depending on where the sun is, this will cast a shadow. And that shadow should fade away. So one side will be sharp, the other side will be smudged and fade a little bit. Again, the brighter the sun, the more it shows. So having said that, even though this is in shadow, I would accentuate the shadow under there. I would accentuate the shadow under there. It just grounds it a little bit more. You know, even these little things, it's very hard on a small, this is 2 by 3.5 or whatever, but it does change how it looks three-dimensionally when you have this. And don't forget to make your whatever sit on the ground. Like, don't be afraid to put some heaviness at the bottom, because it just, otherwise it sort of looks like it's floating a little bit. So there's one example. As far as the trees, etc. are concerned, shadowing, if you're not doing it in color, I just do circular, and then I smudge it, and then I lift off. So smudge that in circular motions, and don't make it all join. That's the other thing. Leave some white spots, and then I would lift here and there to make it a little more realistic than that. So that's one example. We can do the second one. So I don't know how it looks according to, this was the person who drew it, and they did not make it look three-dimensional when they drew it. This is free clip art, but they did not make it look three-dimensional. Compared to this, it's quite noticeably different. Okay, this one should be probably easier. So again, I'll have my sun coming out here. So because the angle of this is slightly different, this is actually going to be in shadow. So let's take our, it's the same method. You can stop now if you don't want to listen to me anymore, by all means. So I would say, unless the sun's coming from here, I would say this is going to, this is just a reminder of what's what, so that when you do a big drawing, you're going to use this value sketch as your instruction, I guess you would call it. Okay, because this is just, so sunshine, shade, sunshine, shade, sunshine, shade. Okay, and then take something a little bit darker. And one of the things that I have found as teaching watercolors is that if you have a gradient scale like we made at the beginning, it helps speed things up. And if you punch, I'll actually show you in a sec. Whoops. So you try not to make lines, try to do it on its side. This is going to be darker still because it's inset. And so will this. Just press a little harder and away she goes, okay? And then you blend it. And if your drawing has, you know, roof tiles and all that kind of stuff, it's very easy to get distracted by the roof tiles and not do sort of the big picture. When I was taught this, we were told actually we should draw a rope, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, assuming this is a white church, if it's a colored whatever, it doesn't matter. You still darken down your color, put a little bit of Payne's gray in it. Now for the roof, because the roof is going to be a colored roof, I'm going to just use what's already on this to make it not as white, because it's a tile roof and it wouldn't be white. This is just a clip art drawing. Just compare that to the clip art, just to show you how three-dimensional it can look with that little change. The last thing that I want to show you is how to make a value scale. So I'm going to start with each one, and I'm going to try to go darker and darker and darker. So the next one's B. Next one is 4B. Next one is 8B. So we have 4 different degrees of, actually I'll carry this up. So we have 4 different degrees of intensity of color. If you take a hole punch and punch through the center of each, and then you go to a picture, if you think, for example, you know, this is too light, this is too light. If you look at it next to how dark something else is, it changes. So this one, it's dark enough. This one, it's really dark. So it's a matter of not only can you judge how dark to make something, but you can alter what you're doing. So for example, if you think, okay, well that's I need to make this darker. I need to make this darker. If you just put something light next to it, so let's do it up here. So this is very pale. This is like white, right? So if I put color, if I want this to be a little bit darker, okay, so I'm thinking that's really nice and dark, but if something really dark is next to it, it does not look so dark. I don't know if I'm making sense. That doesn't look any different, right? So in order to change that, you need to put something next to it darker. If you put something really dark next to it, suddenly it looks lighter. I hope that explains what I'm trying to say. So this little gadget that you make, you can make decisions by using that. I hope that helped. If you have any questions, by all means, please send them off to me and I will answer as best I can. I enjoyed myself today and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.